Perfect. I see a check mark on our YouTube, which means that we are live now on our YouTube channel. I also see that we're live on our Facebook page. So we're just going to take a second and allow our viewers to hop on with us, and for me to make sure that everything is working on our end, that I hear us and see us just fine. Okay, great. Well, I already see that some folks are starting to hop on with us. So I'll take this time to fill in with some housekeeping for those of you that are coming to us for the very first time or are returning viewers. Welcome to our broadcast. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. If it's the weekend, then thank you for taking the time to replay this video and tune in and really be engaged and informed about our businesses that are here and ways that you can support them. I am Juliette Abdel, the Westminster Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, and we've held these videos for over 2.5 years, going on 3 years now. Feedback's always been awesome, so we've kept them for you on Mondays. We bring you updates from City Council, which we will get back into rhythm of on Wednesdays. That we introduce some of our newer members, like we'll be doing today. And then every now and then we'll throw you a curveball with a Friday update so you know what's going on around you and the resources that are available. Now, if you have not already familiarized yourself, there are a few functions that you need to know. There is the video section here on our Facebook or YouTube channel for you to find the archive, all the videos. So if at any point in time you want to just cancel your Netflix subscription and tune into all the chamber videos, they're available to you at your heart's content. You can hit the share button on this video, which allows others in your network to learn more about the businesses that we have on here so that they can support them if they have that interest. And if you haven't already done so, make sure that you are liking this page, that you also follow it. There is always a pause at the start of this broadcast to allow for folks to get notified that we're going live. And if you're not following our page, you're probably not getting that notification. So that saves you the time and effort in trying to find those videos. Again, make sure that you familiarize yourself with the comment section, because that is where we go for questions, for comments that you might throw our way. We really want this to be an engaging and informative conversation with our partners. So with that being said, today I'm very excited. I have one of our newer partners with us, and that's StretchLab, that's here in Westminster. And Andrea and Faith are both with us. And before I have them introduce themselves individually and the titles that they hold, I do want to throw out that our chairman, our board chair, Brian Dice, is tuned in with us. And I believe Brian is used on some of your marketing because he is a current client of yours. But Brian is sharing a quick good morning message our way. Thank you for tuning in, Brian. Andrea and Faith, let's have folks know who you all are and what you do out at StretchLab.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much, Juliette, for having us. And yes, Brian actually just left the studio, so it's exciting to have him. He's our brand warrior for us, which is great. So yes, I am currently the owner. Myself and my husband own the StretchLab here in Westminster. It's our third location. We have 2 other locations, one in Cherry Creek and Cherry Hills. So yes, so my role is as the owner of this location currently. And I'll let Faith go ahead.
Yeah. And I'm Faith. I am one of the flexologists here at StretchLab. So I do the stretching for people. I have a background in personal training, mostly group exercise, working with HIIT classes and also active elderly folks. So super excited to be at StretchLab. Really love the job. So
I love it. Well, congratulations on 3 locations, Andrea. That's exciting. We're glad to have you all here in Westminster. And of course, Faith, I love that your background and your interest is in what you do. It makes it so much more enjoyable. And I'm sure Brian can attest to that. He did reiterate that he just left your space. So that explains why he's a lot more pleasant lately in the morning. I thank you both for that. We also have another Brian, Brian Head, that's tuned in with us as well, giving us a quick good morning message. Thank you for engaging with us, Brian, this morning. So for those viewers that do not know what StretchLab is, can we talk a little bit about what the concept looks like and how people interface with you all?
Yes, absolutely. I'll start and then I'll let Faith add as
Yes.
well. So we are a one-on-one assisted stretching studio. So you would come into our studio. We want to get to know as much about you as possible. Like, what's your why? Why do you want to move better, feel better? Is it pain? Is it recovery? Is it just that you have a need for mobility, right? We have clients all the way from as young as 7 to 88. So we really just want to know like their why. What is their goals, right? And then we have you come into the studio, you work one-on-one with someone like Faith, a flexologist who has a background and a bodywork background and so forth. And they go through a very extensive training program that we do at StretchLab. And then we take them through a screening to kind of learn more about their body, and then take them through an intro stretch. We do 25-minute stretches or 50-minute stretches and really get to learn their body, what's tight, compare left side to right side, and really dive deep into what their need is and how we can help them to get them to their goals. And then from there, we recommend a type of membership or so forth that you might want, or that type of service that would correlate to what your needs are. And our flexologists, they'll do that. And then we'll, work with the client to see what works best for them.
So that's a pretty comprehensive overview that you provide to them and really support along the way, it sounds like, so that they're not coming in just blindly and signing up for something, but having that continuity. And hopefully that contributes to their overall wellness throughout their entire life, not just that one time. Faith,
Exactly.
is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Absolutely. So I know some people are a little bit nervous when they first hear our concept. They think of like medieval torture devices, or in karate where they kind of force you to be flexible, or other like types of martial arts like that. But it's a really gentle, contract and relax style of stretching we do here. It's known as PNF stretching. So that stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. So we do a little bit of engaging the muscle and then lengthening it. So it's super gentle. It's all on the client's call. Like Andrea said, we have people as young as 7 and then clients as old as 90. So even people who are big marathon runners, or people who just work a desk job and are looking for just some relief in their flexion all day, we kind of serve all those folks in a really gentle way, and try to instill a really good at-home routine as well, which is really important because it's all about consistency with stretching. So we try to be all-encompassing here.
Yeah, I was about to comment and say it sounds like the full spectrum. And I think Andrea touched on that when she shared it's 7 years all the way up. There is no one group or one age category that is the only one that benefits from that. And that's exciting. How does that look for you all in terms of your business? Do people show up there directly to the office, to the space? I mean, do they have to find that time to, fight traffic to do that? Do you go out to business locations, events, or programs?
We do. So obviously we have people that either walk in and see the studio, word of mouth, hear it. Obviously leads that come in from something they've engaged, like with a Facebook post or something as well. So that's how we kind of get people into the studio, and that they have an interest, right? A genuine interest. They're walking through our door because there's something that's not quite right and they want to have better mobility, flexibility. We also do go out to certain events. We cover a lot of races. People might have seen us out at races, other local events or vendors that might need us. School functions. We're going to do work with the Ladies League at Highland Hills Golf Club. They're like end of the year celebration. So we're going to do some demo stretches for them and work with them as well. So anyone that has interest in for more mobility, a corporate partnership or something, we can either do like a group class or something for them, or do something individual as well, to just let them learn and experience a little bit more about what we have to offer as well.
Mm-hmm. I think that's such a great perk. I was just at a business, and it was a couple of days ago, and I was touring their space. I mean, this was a huge business, like 25,000 square foot. So I'm talking like they have the capacity to do a variety of services. But one of the things that they were offering all their employees were these different types of holistic health within the building, right? And so they had a chiropractor that would come in and do that for them. They had an acupuncturist. And I think those things help. One, it builds for employees to have an interest in going into to work and knowing that if they're stressed or feeling unwell, they can be seen and taken care of. But what a great way to take care of people outside of just providing them with their livelihood. And I think that is a trend we're seeing in a lot of our businesses, more so lately.
Absolutely. I think it's great that employers are starting to care about their employees' health. It helps their business, but also keeps people happy and feeling good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So StretchLab, is that a franchise or is it an independent business concept that you had, Andrea?
It is actually a franchise. It's one of the wellness brands. Our parent company is Exponential, which you might have heard of. It has 10 brands, boutique fitness brands from Pure Barre, Club Pilates, Row House, Stride, AKT, Rumble. There's several brands within it. So we are the only recovery brand, which spoke to me. I am a physical therapist, so that's my livelihood. Movement is key, right? Movement is health, movement is wealth. It's like, so you have to have that. And so that's what drove me to be part of StretchLab. There's this great need for people that need mobility outside of injuries and so forth. So that's what we can provide. And the stories and the clients and the people that we can help is, the full broad spectrum, which is great. But it is a franchise. It started in 2015, and then it got franchised Exponential in 2018. Started in California. So it's been around. They have over 700 licenses sold and 250 studios open within the US.
Wow.
And they're in Colorado. We currently have 7 open. We have 3 of the 7, and then there's more to come.
Yeah,
so
that is super exciting. And that growth, I think, speaks to the work that's shown from it, the results that people are seeing, and that drives that growth that's there. And it has probably driven why you've taken up 3 different locations until this day, for sure. So how many employees do you have between your locations, or at least the Westminster location?
Yes, so we currently have 4 flexologists here, almost getting ready to bring on another one here in the studio. And then we have our manager as well as a sales staff individual as well. Throughout our organization, we have about 40 employees.
Wow. Yeah, and that's a pretty good amount, especially when you look at the number of appointments that you probably have and your 25 to 50-minute break throughout the days and all the other functions that are going on. How has COVID helped or inhibited your business?
Yes. So we actually purchased the other 2 studios. They actually opened in 2019. Cherry Creek was March of 2019 and Cherry Hills was November. So when we took those over, COVID was kind of like middle COVID, right? So yeah. We, had to learn quickly how to adapt to the guidelines and so forth, as well as that. For the most part, we were pretty fortunate as far as like our staff staying healthy, our clients coming back slowly. We had a rough kind of bumpy January when things kind of increased as well this past year, but overall, like through that, our clients are feeling comfortable. They came back. It hasn't really been an issue. We feel very fortunate for that. Mm-hmm. And yes, so as of now, like really no issues whatsoever.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you were right in the trenches of COVID. That's interesting that the timing on purchasing those franchises, but holding on to them throughout it, I think is also something that you should be very proud of because you were inhibited significantly. As a lot of those that are in your industry, that touch points and that were there just did not allow for you guys to continue to have that growth that you could have in that first couple of years of your business and everything. For sure. So I have a few different questions for you, and it looks like I have Amy on here. Amy, thanks for tuning in, and Gerald, thank you both for hopping on. We have Andrea with us and Faith from StretchLab here in Westminster. Andrea has a couple other locations throughout Colorado, 3 in total. We're specifically talking about the one that's located here in Walnut Creek and ways that you can utilize their service, of course, at their place of business, or if you have a program or an event that you want them to come out to, or if you're a business owner yourself and you want to try and offer that perk to your employees. Feel free to comment in any comments that you might have or any questions if they come to your mind that I may not touch on, because my questions are generally a little bit random. But if folks are interested in more specific things, please be sure that you ask those as well. So this is a point that I like to kind of bring up some myths or things that are out there in your industry that may either prevent someone from doing business with you, or they have a thought and we want to see if there's any validity to it, if it's incorrect, and just kind of educate people, since stretching and StretchLab is your world. It's not everyone else's. And so they don't know it as much as you do, the ins and outs. And we trust you as the experts to answer these questions for us. This first myth is, if you don't stretch regularly, your muscles will shorten. Is that accurate?
You want to tackle?
I would say that's pretty accurate. You want to be able to lengthen your muscles just in general when we're on walks, or if we're running, or just trying to have moments where we're trying to be a little bit more agile. You drop something, you have to pick it up. If your muscles are so tight and short, when you kind of hit those moments where you're being quick, you can really kind of injure yourself. So that's something we also talk about here at StretchLab, is just injury prevention, keeping yourself nice and long and loose. And just for athletic benefits as well, if you're a big runner and your stride length is really short because your hamstrings are very tight, you're going to have some hip issues, some calf issues, and you're not going to be able to actually get the full benefit of your stride. So definitely having longer muscles is better. Yeah,
for sure. And I think, as we get into our daily movement patterns, like things are consistent. If you sit a lot, right, certain muscles are going to shorten, and it's going to eventually affect and cause a pain pattern down the road, right? So if you're not doing something to counterbalance that, it will definitely have an effect on your movement ability.
Yeah, yeah, I could see why, for sure. Thank you both for explaining that so thoroughly. This next one relates to stretching and how it may help relieve sore muscles. Is that an accurate statement?
Definitely. If you sit a lot, like Andrea was saying, at a desk, you're having a lot of compression in your hips and not a lot of movement in your posterior chain. So if those are feeling sore because you're sitting on your tuchus all day, definitely stretching it out can help relieve a lot of that tension. You don't want to get knots or too much built up tension in one area. So helping kind of lengthen that out can help alleviate some of that compression you're feeling.
Okay. You guys are so great at this. Like, I feel like you do this often, like firing through these. And does stretching reduce the risk of injury?
Definitely. Yeah. Having those longer muscles, like I said earlier, if you have really tight muscles and you have to be quick, it can be something as you're running down the street, chasing after your dog, or even just I've had clients who are brushing their teeth and go to like spit and then seize out their back a little bit because it's so tight and it's such a shocking motion. And nobody wants that story. Nobody wants to say that they threw out their back because they were just simply brushing their teeth or just bending over to tie their shoe. So keeping those longer muscles and keeping all those ranges of motion and being able to move in all directions is just super important.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tag onto that a little bit. I think what happens too over time, like we get muscle imbalances, right? So if you're ignoring one side or the other, or not taking care of that, like if your stride is consistent and your quad is tighter on your right than the left, then it's going to eventually cause an injury. So if you don't do something to help prevent that and do some regular stretching, mobility, it will definitely catch up to you at some point. And that's what we do. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
We do a lot of it here. We look left to right side, right? So like as Faith mentioned earlier, we do a type of stretching called PNF. So we might do, like, let's say the right quadricep is tighter than the left, then we're going to do a few more cycles on the right than the left. So we can kind of help create that balance in the body. So that's something that we look at through every stretch. And, whether it's something that we saw the first time or it's something that we notice because they've done another activity or something different prior to coming in.
Yeah. That is an interesting, when you said balance, that goes hand. I mean, this is why you are doing what you're doing actually with the physical therapy component that you've seen how that's helped and worked on people that have issues with balance and things after injuries. Yeah,
for sure.
Sorry, I'm like thinking out loud as you were talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah, that's just not,
It's
you don't think about that.
Yeah, like if you've had like a serious hip injury and then you're dealing with some compensation and that right side is way tighter, or it can just be little things you're not even thinking of. Like on a desk job, maybe you use one side to lean on, or if you're a side sleeper, we carry our bags on one shoulder our entire life. So even the little stuff you don't think about can be causing an imbalance.
Over time. Yeah, it sure does. So this next one is stretching one particular muscle or group of muscles will only relieve that area. Hence the reason for lots of different stretch moves. Is that an accurate statement or an inaccurate one?
I would say some stretches are very geared and
Right.
specific, and that's what's kind of nice about having someone help you stretch. Sometimes when we're at home, and for instance, if you're doing a hamstring stretch, you're sitting on the ground and you're reaching towards it, all these other muscles are engaged, and maybe you don't get a very proper hamstring stretch. Versus here, where we can kind of concentrate on certain muscles and have other ones relax. Alternatively, there are some stretches, especially if you're really tight in certain areas where they feel like they're all over. You can't really pinpoint where you feel the stretch. So that's what's kind of nice too. We can kind of pinpoint areas and then work over like overall mobility.
Absolutely.
Here's another one for us, and that's stretching a few times a week is more than enough.
So I would say that, yes, I mean, it's not more than enough. I mean, obviously the more stretch you can do, the better you're going to be down the road, right? So that's where, like, to our point, like if you come and you see us once a week, that's great. But then there also needs to be something outside at home that you're continuing to do. So obviously we try to give people exercises or stretches to do at home that we find, like if we did find that muscle imbalance, we're like, yes, we definitely need to work on the hamstrings and guide them to that so they can be consistent. It only helps us reach that goal a little faster, right? So the consistency is key. If you're someone who is extremely tight, right, like then yes, you're definitely going to need more stretching throughout.
Yeah. More than that. Yeah, for sure. And I would imagine that it varies based on the person. As you were sharing earlier, you kind of do that assessment to see what their needs are. But knowing that, the more the helpful it is in the long run. This next myth talks about how stretching after a workout isn't important as long as you stretched beforehand.
So there's actually kind of different things you can do before and after a workout. So typically before a workout, you want to do something that's dynamic stretching. So that's with movement, whether that's, jumping jacks or you're going on a run or you're doing lunges, something that's going to kind of mimic the workout you're about to do. And then what we kind of do is more of a static style of stretching where you're holding stretches for longer periods of time. And ideally you want to do that post-workout. It's great for recovery, kind of resetting the muscles. You kind of want to do this style of stretching we do after a workout instead of before, because if you're really holding that tension for a long time, you really stretch out your back, and then you go for a round of golf, you're going to be swinging like tomorrow because it's of greater range than you feel. So typically we recommend people wait a few hours before you do a heavy, intense workout, but coming afterwards when your muscles are nice and warmed up, that's when you can get optimal lengthening.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. This is talking about how stretching isn't important if you're already flexible.
So believe it or not, you can actually still benefit from stretching, because it might be that they have certain areas, like let's just say that their lower body is actually fairly flexible, right? But they carry a lot of tension up in their shoulders and neck. So there might be some type of stretching that you do need to kind of hone in on. We actually, because we're so close to the ice center, we have several ice skaters that we come and see that are extremely flexible, but because of what they do, they need more extreme flexibility. So we see actually a lot of young athletes, ice skaters, that we do get into more extreme flexibility for them. So it's not, I mean, even though they're flexible, but they need it even further. So, and we can help with that. So
I love that example that you gave too, because you might already be doing it and feel like I'm already stretching on my own, or I'm already getting this done. And there are different layers to it. And there is a lot more that can be done with someone else doing it as opposed to you doing it yourself. And this last one I have, and then I saw Brian type in a question that I don't want to lose sight of. So I'll go back to him here in a second. But this last one that I wanted to rapid fire your way, and thank you so much to Andrea and Faith. Both of you have been doing great with my random questions. They had no idea what I'm asking them. It's entirely on the spot. And I think that speaks to their level of interest in what they do and their knowledge of it as well. So this last one is stretching or not has no effect on performance.
I would say that it absolutely does. I mean, I'm just like speaking from personal experience, right? Like if I go do a workout and I don't stretch afterwards, like for sure, like the next day I'm not walking like I should, right? And that's for anybody, right? Like if you go do something that that's taxes your body or so forth, you're definitely going to feel it unless you do some type of recovery. And stretching is one of a great way to recover and kind of help extend those muscles from helping them from shortening as much as they did from whatever it is that you have been doing. So absolutely.
I think the recovery part is something that doesn't really get enough attention when it comes to health and wellness. A lot of people focus on the exercise and the diet, but the recovery part is what's going to keep you going and being able to do the things that you love and recover from the workouts. If you think you're going 100% of the time, you're probably not. You need to have that rest and recovery to rebuild those muscles and repair.
Yeah, no, totally. I love that example that you just shared, and that it is a 3-step process, because it's more than just the kitchen and the workouts that you're doing. I can attest to that. Like, I get done and I'm like, oh my gosh, my body is just like, it's so sore. It's holding on to so much. And to do better and to keep getting stronger, you need to let go of some of that tension that you're having that's there. So Brian's sharing that he was one of those people that he had to be forced into something, right? So he talks about how he went to you all after he had the significant amount of pain. He's wondering, is he the only one that's out there that does this? Are people smart enough to think a little bit ahead of time and say, this is something I should try out before I experience the pain? What have you guys seen walk through your doors?
I'll let you attest to it a little bit.
Some people kind of wait till the pain, but I think it's a lot of just body awareness. I think it's something everyone knows we need to do, stretching, but some of us just don't either make the time for it. We don't know what we're doing. So kind of those two things in hand can just make you wait till you're actually in pain to do it. But I think we kind of get a mix. I think it's good for people to know about stretching, which is why we really enjoy doing community outreach and kind of educating people. Usually for the first stretch, it's all about education, why you should be doing this, how you can make this a regular plan at home. But yeah, we need to get more people doing it before they are in pain so that they don't get in pain. Definitely.
No, it seems like that's the case we know what's good for us, but we generally have to be at the end of our
that's why we're here, because we can hold your appointment, hold you accountable, have you come in and see us and help you with the mobility as well. But I would say we have a mix, right? Like, some people do walk through our door because they know that they need mobility, or they need mobility because they want to get back to working out. We do have people that come in because they have pain, right? They had the muscle imbalance that had led to a problem because they didn't take care of it or address the issue. So it's a mix, but we would love to, help anybody before that, to continue to educate them and get them on a program to prevent the pain problem. Right.
Absolutely. Well, I'll go ahead and share with people that are tuned in with us now. And those of you that tune in later, give me that hashtag replay so I know you viewed this. If you have questions you didn't get a chance to ask, or maybe you had a question that you felt was a little uncomfortable that you didn't want the public to know about, you can always DM the page and we'll get that question over to our guests to be able to answer for you. Now, you can find StretchLab, of course, at the start of this, Andrea talked about there are 2 other locations. The location that's here in Westminster is off of Town Center Drive for you. The details are included in the comment section, so you can follow up with them in person if you'd like. If you have any questions and you're more comfortable giving them a call before doing a walk-in, their number is also included in the chat section. It's a quick local number, a 720, that you can dial at your convenience. And then the last and final thing, websites are my favorite thing to learn about a business, especially an industry that you know nothing about. Go to their website and learn more about what they do, what they offer, and those services. So when you do go in person, or when you do pick up the phone, you can talk from a standpoint of knowing some of the things that they might have and know what type of questions and needs that you have. Very excited, of course, to have Andrea and Faith on here with me. Thank you both for being on today, for sharing a little bit about yourselves and your background, and with the viewers, with educating them on all things related to stretching, health and wellness, and your body. Was there anything else that you wanted to get out there before I just close this out and wish everyone a great day?
No, I just say, absolutely. Thank you, Juliet, obviously, for this time.
Yes,
we really appreciate that. And come check us out. We want to work with people and their individuals, their goals, and see what their why is, right? So just come and try it, no pressure, just to see if it's for you. And we make it interactive and fun, and want to be part of this community. And we're just so happy that we're able to bring this to Westminster.
Well, likewise, we are very glad to have you here. We've enjoyed our partnership so far with you, and we can't wait to continue to share with the public who you all are and what you do and why they should be supporting you as a local business here in our community. Hope you guys have a great day, and I hope everyone that's tuned in has an awesome rest of your week. We'll be back on here on Monday, of course, with updates from our city and two last few things because I saw John hop on here. Award nominations for our gala close this Friday, the 23rd. So if you know of a small business, large, medium size, or someone that's a mover and shaker, we are taking up nominations until Friday. And those awards will be given out on the 30th, which is a week from Friday, is our annual Chamber Awards Gala. And this year's theme is a Havana night. So always a great time to celebrate business. Thank you again for our viewers. Thank you to our guests. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Juliet. You have a great day too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.